For this sketch, I'm going to be using this set of 36 Copic sketch markers. This is a great starter set for jumping into alcohol markers. I'll also be using this Pilot Kakuno fountain pen. I really like this pen because I find it very reliable and it makes a great mark. I'm also going to be using this standard sketchbook. It has a little bit of texture on the paper, which is my preference for drawings. Okay, I'm going to start my sketch like I do almost every sketch, and that is to block in my major shapes. But before I do that, you'll see me do a phantom drawing to plan my space out. Now, if I break down this building into basic shapes, the first shape that I see is an elongated block shape for that main building. And that's what I'm going to be drawing. You might notice that I'm using points on my paper, and this is just to help me draw that shape more accurately. Adding points to your scene during the drawing process is just a good way to see where your lines can go before you actually draw them. It also limits any major mistakes since you're using points and not full lines. Now, once I've drawn the main building, I'm going to use those lines to help me plan out the secondary building. Again, thinking in broad, simple shapes. Now, as my building starts to form, I'm going to go in and start to connect the rest of the lines and then start adding my detail. Now, as I'm adding details, I am constantly referencing the negative spaces of the primary lines that we've already drawn. Using the other elements can help provide a reference to place the new elements more accurately. Now, from my experience, I know that even if I'm off a little bit, it won't be a big issue. As long as I'm somewhat close with the details, it should still feel believable. But this is where it's important to actually look at your drawing and the spaces that the elements make in reference to one another. It's very easy to see a window and to think, I know what a window looks like, and try to draw that window that's in your mind, but not what's in the reference photo. It's this accidental mistranslation of details that a lot of beginners make. It also takes patience to stop or pause your drawing to look back up and double-check your reference before drawing the rest of it. Now, as I continue, this scene has a light post that sits in front of this building. And you'll notice that I'm going to attempt to draw around that light post. I tend to like scenes that have some depth in them, kind of like this light post does, but I also knew that this particular light post could cause some issues since it's dark and it's going to risk blending in with my sketch. And what you'll notice is that I will try to use some techniques to add separation, but in the end, I honestly don't think I executed that well, or as well as I could have. Now, another thing that drew me to this image was the opportunity to draw a lot of hatch lines. As an artist, there are things that I find soothing to draw, and evenly spaced hatch lines is one of them. So anytime I see texture or shadows that allow me that opportunity to play around with those hatch lines, I will likely try that out in a sketch. Now, as I start to draw the windows, I'm going to take a little bit more time to make sure that I'm not getting messy with my line work. There is a lot of detail in these windows, and since I am drawing these sketches at such a small scale, I have to pick and choose how much detail needs to go into that small space. This is where it can get tricky, and playing around with thick and thin lines and even the suggestion of negative space can really sell the illusion that my sketch has more detail than it really does. Okay, coming up, I'll jump into coloring. As you can see, I've already started to color the building, and I'm going to approach this from a pretty straightforward process. I'll be using a base color, in this case it's a light tan, to go over most of my building. Now you will see me use that tan color again to build up different values on my building. I really like how alcohol markers allow you to play around with layering of colors to get a slightly different shade. Okay, now as I'm coloring the other parts of my building, I'm just taking time to select the colors that best represent that area. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I only have 36 colors to work with, so I'm going to have to rely on mixing some colors in order to get new colors. As you get into coloring with alcohol markers, I can't stress how important it is to learn how to push and pull colors in different directions by layering them. Also, and maybe a little selfishly, it saves me money from going out and having to buy every single shade of a color. Now, a lot of finishing up this building is starting to introduce darker values. And if you pay careful attention, you'll notice that I'm using multiple colors to do this. I may have a dark gray or a dark purple or even a black, but it's these darker values in the different colors that can really add interest to your scene. I'm really trying to use these colors to increase my contrast and to make my sketch feel more alive. You'll see this play out especially when I work in the color on my primary garage door a little later. Now, another tip when coloring is that I'm slowly building up all of my colors. That is to say that I'm going back over areas I previously colored and refining them or deepening them to push my color. What I'm not doing is I'm not going into my coloring expecting that one pass is going to do it. I know it's going to take multiple passes to slowly build up that color to an end result that I'm happy with. As I start to add my finishing touches, you can see how quickly the sketch has come together. And it's these quick sketches that are a great way to practice new techniques. If you're enjoying these types of videos, please let me know in the comments. And if you already haven't, please give this video a like and subscribe.